of the National Rally Championship Series is the Volkswagen Rally, which took competitors to Port Elizabeth and to Volkswagen's home, the town of Uitenhage, for the start. As usual, there was a bustle of activity in the town centre, and a huge crowd turned up to soak up the atmosphere of this increasingly popular facet of motorsport. With half the season over, Toyota's Serge Damso and Vito Bonafide held a slender 7-point lead over Sarel van der Merwe and Frans Boshoff and the Daewoo Cielo. Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding hold third place to lead the Formula 2 contingent.
Serge, at the Sasol Rally, you managed to hang on to your championship lead, but it's close.
Yeah, you know, after the Sasol, we thought we might have a good lead, but we had a slight problem right towards the end. So now we're back with a tight point position. So it all depends on this event again.
The opening stage was a blast through the town centre, and Volkswagen's Jannie Habich was the first car away. But that isn't always an advantage.
Yeah, we expect the forest to be patchy, and obviously it's going to be wet and slippery on all the awkward places. So, and we're in front, we're first on the road, so we're the first ones to go and find these awkward places, but I think we'll be looking out for them.
Unlike a lot of town stages, this one was fast, and the fans were able to watch cars being driven to their full potential as drivers scrabbled for traction at the start. The old Fox van der Merwe, 11 times champion, have big plans for this one.
I think it's make or break for the top few competitors, because Serge has dropped an event, so have I. I think Jannie's dropped one, so apart from Chart, the points that you see are the points we got, and I don't think anybody else can afford to drop anything else.
Damso and Bonafide drew third, and the 2-litre Conquest showed just how quickly a top-notch rally car accelerates. After winning the last event, Enzo Keane became a player in the championship standings too.
Championship-wise, we can't really make mistakes, but you know, it will be a difficult event. We'll have to see and get to the end, and also try and stay ahead of, because the competition at the moment is quite fierce. You know, you've seen this year a big change in rallying, where you come to the end of a day's rallying and there's 15 sections in it. You know, it's something that hasn't happened in the last 10 years, and therefore the pressure is really on the front runners.
Sharing the fastest time on this stage with Keane and Guy Hodgson was the Formula 2 Sasol Ford Escort RS 2000 of Paolo Piazzamuso and Nick Haddon. On the Sasol Rally, they've been as high as third place before retirement, and were hoping for a good run this time. Teddy Brunt and Marty Olivier hadn't had much luck yet this season in their Formula 2 golf, and were rather desperate for just a finish. Team Total's Toyota crew of Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley have finished third in the last 3 events, and they lead the S18 class by a long way. Rain the previous day turned the early forest stages into a lottery. In parts they were smooth, but once into the shadows, mud was waiting to catch up the unwary. Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding made it through, but Tony Ball and Brian Duncan were early retirements, as were Team Total teammates JP Damso and Pierre Aris and the Class S18 Toyota Conquest. It wasn't a good afternoon for Team Total at all, and it got worse when Barry Grobler and Mike Burrows smoked the side of a bridge in their golf. Berto Mostert and Andre Vermeulen got off to a good start, soon moved into a top 10 position in their Toyota Conquest. There was barely enough time to give the cars a quick check before the rally moved into Longmoor Forest, and the first of the true forest stages. Oblivious to what was in store, everyone looked relaxed and in upbeat moods. Habich and Judd are experienced enough to know the risks of being first on the road in these conditions, and settled down to a comfortable pace that saw them holding station just outside the top 3. Deep in amongst the trees, conditions were very different. Van der Merwe and Boshoff encounter a pool of mud, but blast through in spectacular fashion to record the second fastest time over the 17-kilometer test. Setting the pace were reigning champions Damso and Bonafide. They increased their slender lead over Superband by going 1 second better. From the driver's seat, the roads look to be in good condition, but looks can be deceiving. From the helicopter, the roads also looked good, and the helicopter was having a hard time in keeping up with the Toyota's pace. Damso's car is usually good for over 180 kilometers per hour, depending on what gearing is used. It sounded good too.
Number 5.
Despite showing total commitment, Keane was on the ragged edge and had to settle for fourth fastest, 1 second slower than Hobbig and Judd, who took the Formula 2 lead from Piazza Musso, who managed to lose a good 15 seconds to the leaders. It's not only road conditions that make forest rallying tricky. Just look at how the light changes with the shadows masking hazards everywhere. Although they lost a bit of time, the Ford was still showing a good turn of speed, even though the roof-mounted aerial had whipped back and shattered the rear window. Lawrence was going like the clappers, and despite giving away 300 cc's to the leading Class S16 and Formula 2 cars, was only 7 seconds slower than Damso's benchmark. A man who has an extraordinary amount of mechanical sympathy for a car is the amicable Chart van der Walt. He's finished every event of the season so far, but this stage almost caught him out though, and he lost over half a minute on the leaders. After a cautious start, Brandt and Olivier were going smoothly in the Jimco Golf, which is running in a low-cost Formula 2 specification. After missing the opening event, they haven't had much luck so far this season. Heading the no-holds-barred Group N category were Dean Sanders and Graham Hooper in their virgin white Toyota Conquest RSI. But chasing them hard was the husband and wife crew of Ben and Isabel van der Westhuizen and the championship-leading Daewoo Cielo. Van der Westhuizen is an acclaimed master of muddy conditions and was content to sit back and apply pressure to Sanders. Once the rally settled into a pattern, Marius Loubser and Derek Sullivan held third in Group N with their Toyota, but it was close as less than 2 minutes separated the trio. Further back was the team total golf of former circuit racer Gijs Klein and Tricia Evans. They weren't taking it easy, their gearbox was taking strain, and the real test of the event was still to come. A newcomer to the national rallying scene is young Richard Bem, who had the experienced Peter Chadwick alongside in their Group N Opel Corsa that was used earlier in the season by Graham and Mike Bishop. The weight of mud clinging to the underside of a car and slippery roads can mask all sorts of problems.
Sorrel, 3 stages down. How's it going so far?
Having a lot of handling problems. I don't know what's wrong in the rear suspension, but it feels like something's bent or broken. So I'm not the happiest of chaps.
And the conditions, are they muddy?
Very, very slippery, very muddy.
Team Castrol Toyota's chief washer in action.
So it's 3 stages down and you're leading.
Yeah, we're trying to keep ahead. It's quite difficult. The pressure's quite hard at the moment, but we'll see as the stages go and towards the end of today, we'll see, you know, where we lie.
Meanwhile, the Ford team was busy fitting a makeshift rear window to the Escort.
Is tyre choice going to be crucial on this event?
I actually think it is, Steve, because if you go with a non-mud tyre, then you can lose out. If you go with a mud tyre and it dries out, then you can lose out. So I think tyre choice will be one of the critical things on this rally.
The fourth stage was about to change the face of the rally dramatically, but Hobbig and Judd lost some time and were chased through by Van der Merwe, who emerged with the rally lead. Damso and Bonafide were going well too, as the in-car action shows. Then, a side shaft broke halfway through, and while they were limping to the finish in one-wheel drive, the other also broke, leaving them stranded and out of the event. All they could hope for now was that Van der Merwe and Boshoff wouldn't make the finish. Damso's demise elevated Keane into second, and he'd seen the Toyota stranded, so set about getting the lead before the Daewoo team issued team orders. Piazza Musso was also flying along. He was determined not to let Hobbig build up the big lead in the Formula 2 class. But he clipped an earth bank and speared off the road. I'm afraid your rally is over, Mr. Piazza Musso. Giant-killing acts are usually hard to follow, but Lawrence and Paisley were doing a good job of repeating their last one, and again with the leading Toyota in third place. After his customary cautious start, Van der Walt was starting to pick up his pace, and they moved up to fifth after claiming the fifth fastest time. Pressing on, but to no avail. Brunt and Olivier became another statistic when their gas gearbox failed and put them out of the proceedings. With cars dropping out rapidly, it wasn't long before lesser-known crews were holding station in the top 10. Mostert and Vermeulen moved up to 7th, but lost out to local traffic cop Keith Coleman's mustard-coloured Golf, which crept into the top 6. So, Officer Coleman, which way are you really going to turn? There was a lot of car washing done too on this rally.
Enzo, that seems to be a difficult stage.
Yeah, I'd say that was one of the more tricky stages I've done in my life. Very muddy and certainly not a stage to try and be brave on. It seems to have taken out two of the main competitors, Yanni and Serge. So I'm glad that we took it easy through there and treated it as a survival course more than a rally. So looks like scoreboard's changed now after that stage.
And special stage continues on Supersport. 2 tarmac stages wrapped up the first day of rallying, and again they proved to be popular with spectators. Drivers were obviously pleased to be out of the power-sapping mud in the forests and revelled on the